Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm going to do a quick overview of my current state of the exhaust system. There is a neighbor across the street that has like a Dodge Durango or whatever with a V8, and it's got a really obnoxious exhaust sound. Unlike our BMWs, that thing sounds horrible. That's the point of my effort that I'm trying to assert here. So for those who don't know what's happening with this exhaust, I've got a Turner Motorsport cat back type of an exhaust, or that's what it's called, I guess. And basically this exhaust eliminates, the exhaust that they sell eliminates the factory muffler and the factory resonator. And it starts as basically a 3-inch pipe. There is nothing else. It gets rid of the factory resonator. The factory muffler is also gone when you install that exhaust, and you have to cut your factory exhaust just past the secondary catalytic converters. Well, just a V8, and it's just stupid. We have the best engines. Well, one of the best engines, definitely better than anything American. Let's not talk about LS and such. In today's video, let's not bring that argument up. In any case, you cut the factory exhaust past the secondaries and just install this piping. I was not happy with this. With the sound that the exhaust produced, according to the expert, it was producing a lot of drone. I did not identify that sound as a drone, but a number of people asked me if how's the drone? And apparently it does produce that unpleasant sound that everyone calls drone. In any case, I didn't like the sound well, I should not be saying that I didn't like the sound in general. Well, I didn't like certain situations with the exhaust. In any case, I started to modify that exhaust, having a previous experience dealing with building custom exhaust systems. I have never built anything for a BMW, so this is my first attempt at the BMW exhaust. So I guess I was just going to go over what the exhaust looks like at this point before we drop it like it's hot. Well, meaning that I have to lower the car now down and get it off the stands. And before that, I just wanted to show the current state of the exhaust. In any case, the 3-inch pipe, this is the section that is originally a straight 3-inch pipe, and there was a clamp at the beginning of this straight. Now it doesn't have any clamps, and it's not a straight 3-inch. It's got a vibrant ultraquiet resonator. It's welded in at this point, so doesn't have any clamps. This is a solid. It's not going to come apart. It's not going to shift like it did at some point on my previous test drive, if anyone watched it. I came back and I found out that one of these clamps, being super tight as I could have made it, it still allowed the pipe shift within that clamp, and it was not lining up. The end of the exhaust was not lining up with the bumper anymore. That was a bummer. This is all welded in. I have as far as the hangers, I guess I wanted to point out what the hangers are like at this point. This is a factory place for the first hanger, I guess. This is not the factory rubber hanger. Still can use a factory. This was just a test that something that I bought that I wanted to test, and well, I can always use a factory rubber hanger in this location. This one is exactly the same dimension as the factory, and I will show what those look like. So this is the first hanger, and it's a factory location. So now the pipe continues, as you can see. So let's move on to the next part of this exhaust, and this is the subframe, the differential. And I have the second hanger here that is a custom, well, this is a custom location, custom installation, because this is the original Turner Motorsport pipe that I don't use anymore. This is where the hanger rod originally was, and the other part is attached to the bolt that goes through the bushing in the subframe. So since I have the resonator here, I would be stupid to weld a hanger rod to the resonator. So since I have a resonator in this place, I figured that I can install a hanger attached to the subframe right here. And what I used factory parts basically. This is a factory rubber bushing, rubber hanger. These are the things that you can buy used, like plenty of them. They are factory BMW hangers, and you can actually figure out whatever installation you want to do. Actually, you can weld this onto your piping in any location, like any location you figure out you would want to use. The upper part is also a factory piece. I attached it to the subframe. The subframe has a bunch of holes here that are not used anyway. It's got these openings here, so you can put a bolt through or a nut on the inside and such. So extremely convenient. You could also put those nut inserts or nut inserts, the hexagonal things. These are the holes here. Those holes did match the location that I needed, so I had to just drill an extra hole. So this is welded onto the pipe, and it's attached with a bolt to the subframe. So now we have what's left is basically the rear section, I guess. This is the location where the original muffler was. Now it's completely empty, well, almost mostly empty. So I have the second resonator here, and it's a vibrant 3-inch titanium, so I could not weld it onto the steel piping. So I have two clamps that are I reused, that came with the Turner Motorsport exhaust, and they are actually really good on the resonator installation. There is a difference between this piping and the titanium resonator. This has a much snugger, a much tighter fit over the piping. Also, it's just an experience that I'm sharing here. I think this originally had only like 2 slits here. I think it did 2. I forgot. But in any case, the more slits you have, the better these clamps work. So you can go for 6 or 8. And you're not going to see it anyway because they are under the clamp. And the resonator, this resonator has a really short overlap over the pipe, unlike this. This expanded section is so much longer, and the slits and everything would not be covered completely by the clamp. This thing is so much better looking. It's neat looking actually. It covers everything really good, and it's super tight. I mean, I can really do this. And that's how tight this exhaust is. I mean, it still moves, has a freedom to move within the bumper, I guess, opening. I guess that's the bottom line. Well, the bumper has a limited space for the exhaust tips to come out through. So the next thing is this last section right here. I suppose makes sense to talk about it too. This is again the 3-inch piece. I could have cut this pipe just to reuse this half of it, I guess. I didn't want to because I just reused the 3-inch 45-degree stainless. So here we have tips. These are the tips that are provided by Turner Motorsport. They are 3-inch in and two pipes out. It's basically a Y split, and there's a clamp holding it. So this is all original, Turner Motorsport original, I guess. So this pipe now has again, this is a factory BMW hanger that is welded onto this pipe. Well, it's kind of like this, except it's a different shape. Most of the time you can buy them with these really nice looking rubber hangers parts that are, I mean, they kind of go bad eventually, but these are all kind of newish because they are of like 5-7 series and such. Surprisingly, most of these look kind of the same, except some of them are shorter and some of them are taller. So okay, I have this last hanger that is actually not provided on the Turner Motorsport. Original exhaust, it's only one hanger right here, like I said, and there's nothing else all the way to the end. And now I have a hanger right here at the very end, because the original muffler has a somewhat there is an attachment point for the original muffler right here. So this piece is attached to the bumper support lower bolt stud. In any case, the exhaust moves a little bit sideways, and like I said, there is not much freedom of the movement, or not enough space for it to move much, because the bumper has a limited gap around the tips. So that's the current situation. So I have 1, 2, 3 hangers now instead of 2 originally, which makes this probably a little bit more stable. And all this is more or less factory pieces. That's pretty much all. That's what it looks like at this point, this exhaust. And this is the like attempt number 3 or 4 or something like that. I hope this helps, but I kind of have doubts at this point. The ultraquiet resonator is of course going to be it's going to probably stay there. The system got a little bit heavier because of the extra resonator. The titanium one is super light, but that ultraquiet is a few pounds. There is an extra hanger somewhere that adds a little bit weight, and the titanium resonator is super light, so that's just maybe a pound or 2. But all of this is not as heavy as the original system, and it can come apart if anything is it needs to be done. So after I get the car down on the ground, we will go for a test drive again and listen to the exhaust sounds. My previous test drive, I had the ultraquiet resonator installed with the clamps, and I didn't have anything here, so this was a straight pipe out. It was actually this pipe. So what's going to be different this time, it's going to be 2 resonators instead of 1. And if this doesn't fix the noise, or it doesn't, this system, if this doesn't make the noise that I'm going to like, the next thing would be to replace this resonator with either a quarter wave resonator, or maybe just go for a muffler. There is plenty of room here for the installation of a muffler, of course, because it's a place where the original muffler was. But the problem would be that you kind of have to install whatever muffler, or even a quarter wave resonator is probably not going to fit here, because it's more of it's like 12 by 12, like 30 centimeters by 30 centimeter, kind of like a square, almost like a muffler shape thing with like a 3-inch inlet, 3-inch outlet. And I'm not sure if that will fit actually here. Probably not. So if I was going to locate it properly, then I would have to cut some of this piping again and build something custom. So I kind of don't want to do it, and probably this is the end of September, the weather is getting colder. My garage, unless I get a heater installed in this garage, I don't see myself working on the exhaust system, being under the car, working under the car in the winter or in cold weather. So unless I install a heater in this garage for the winter, I don't see myself working on much on this car over like months of November, December, January, February, and probably March. So we shall see what happens with the cars and projects on this channel in the upcoming winter weather, I guess. And as far as the gaps, this is a 3-inch pipe, and it's round, it's not shaped to be properly conformed in 2 places like the original OEM exhaust. So it's a bit of a, and I didn't want this thing to be hanging low and be too visible. So I tried to install it as I guess as high as possible against the subframe. And of course there's a question, like someone may say, like what about the heat that this generates and such, because it's close to bushings and subframe and the diff, and also yeah, those are all good questions. That is a good question. So I guess we shall see. This is the end of the exhaust section, the end, like past the middle of the car, so it should not be, it's got enough of airflow, and the gases probably, the exhaust gases probably are going to be much colder in this part of the exhaust, so this should not be as hot as headers, for example. So I guess we shall see what's going to happen with all this, but at this point this is it. This is what it looks like. And that's in general what the exhaust is like at this point. So I guess the next thing is to go for a test drive and do it a little bit differently, I guess, since I have learned a few things after the previous test drive. So I hope I can produce a better video. Well, let's get the car down. It's actually dark outside.